home of the best Bucs coverage. We are 95.3 W237CW Pinellas Park, WRUB HD3 Clearwater, and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station. It's Tuesday, from Dade City to Carrollwood and all around Tampa Bay, plus worldwide on iHeartRadio.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Yeah, welcome aboard on this Fill in the Blank Tuesday. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. The Drive with TKras, Tom Krasnicki, presented by Moss Nissan, is on the air. Great to have you with us, with executive producer Chris Mathis also tagging along. He's riding shotgun. And, of course, you there. We are live in living color, don't you know? On the FM side of 95.3, the mighty AM 620. And don't forget, guys, download the new and improved iHeartRadio app. You can listen to us from anywhere in the civilized world. Crystal clear reception through the app. Put us through your Bluetooth. It's a beautiful thing. They've got scans. You can scan your favorite iHeart stations. They've got presets, so you can favorite WDAE. And you can favorite your podcast, too, like the Drive podcast. Favorite it. So it's right there when you open up the app. Beautiful. Right there at your fingertips. So download the new and improved iHeartRadio app. It is a beautiful thing. And good afternoon to all of you who are watching us on the stream. We're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X at 953 WDAE and AM 620. The phone numbers, you know them, you love them. Now use them. 888-546-4620. That's the toll-free number.
You're on the phone for 3 hours.
Well, you know what? Get on the phone and maybe I'll let you start and finish. You numbskulls. You can also text in your thoughts on the Bartow Ford DAE text platform at 82945, where standard and message and data rates do apply and all that good stuff. And all guests will appear via the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DAE hotline. We've got a very special guest joining us at 4 o'clock. I like to call him like the investigative reporter, because he knows sports. He's covered sports for many years, but he's also a guy who gets down into it. He gets into the trenches and breaks a lot of stories. He gets to the bottom of a lot of things, and we're going to get into that in a matter of moments. Greg Auman, yes, sir, who covers the Bucs and the NFC South for FoxSports.com. He's going to be with me at 4:05, and we'll talk to him about the Bucs and their dramatic ending to that game on Sunday, how they came back to beat the Saints, how Mike Evans got the record. By the way, and if you haven't checked it out yet, the Buccaneers social media team, they do extraordinary work. You know, with the duck and everything else from a couple of weeks ago, they took that thing and they ran with it. They also had, and this was awesome, they had Mike Evans mic'd up for the Saints game. And they showed, like, from the snap to the catch to the celebration to Mike running off the field to Mike going through the tunnel, Mike going into the locker room. It was an extraordinary first-person shot and footage of Mike Evans from the time he made the catch to the celebration that ensued. He goes into the locker room. His teammates are mobbing him in the locker room. He's taking his pads off. He's being congratulated by just about everybody, including our guy, Jason Light. To Todd Bowles awarding him the game ball. It's exciting! It was exciting. It was extraordinary watching that footage. And the Buccaneers did an incredible job of documenting it. So I would urge you to go to the Bucs website or check out their social media platforms and just watch that footage. It's about 8 minutes long, and I was like hanging on every single second. It felt like you were there with Mike. On the field, on the sideline, heading into the locker room, in the locker room, celebrating. Extraordinary job by the Buccaneers. So we'll talk to Greg Auman about what ensued. We'll talk to Greg Auman about the upcoming wild card matchup against Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commandos. We'll also talk to him about things happening off the field for the Buccaneers as well. So he will join us coming up at 4:05. We've got Fill in the Blank at 4:30. And I know Chris Mathis is hard at work. He's going to try and put me.
Don't do nothing stupid.
Well, listen, Bucky, I'm not doing anything stupid now. On occasion, I may stir it up a little bit, and I think that might happen today in our opening drive and maybe during Fill in the Blank coming up at 4:30. Chris Mathis.
Oh, yeah. No, we are ready to rock. I've got some great ones for you. A lot of Buccaneer stuff, obviously, as we get set for the playoff game on Sunday night.
Oh, I could hardly wait. By the way, countdown to kickoff, 6 o'clock Sunday evening with yours truly. Everything you need to know about the Bucs and the Commandos matchup on countdown to kickoff, 6 o'clock on Sunday. And then right after the Bucs-Commanders game ends, I'll be on the air for overtime into the wee hours of Monday morning. Hopefully we'll be jubilated talking about a Buccaneer playoff victory. I sure as hell hope we're not going to be talking about a Buccaneer playoff loss that ends the season on Sunday night into Monday, but I will be on the air before and after the Bucs playoff game against Washington on Sunday evening, so I hope you can join us then. We'll take your phone calls. We'll take your texts. We'll take you all the way up until 5 o'clock. And then it's Buccaneer Total Access with the very exciting Todd Bowles.
Not at this time.
Not at this time, no. But Todd Bowles will be on at 5 o'clock, and you're going to hear his thoughts on the big win on Sunday against the Saints, the celebration with Mike Evans, and the upcoming matchup against the Washington Commandos. That is coming up at 5 o'clock on Buccaneer Total Access. Now, the Buccaneers are going to play a primetime playoff game. Maybe they could reverse the trend. They reversed one trend on Sunday against the Saints because the opponent scored first. And going into Sunday's game, the Buccaneers were 0-6 when the opponent scored first. Saints kicked the field goal on their opening drive. Buccaneers were able to rebound and win that game. So they bucked that trend, pardon the pun. Can they buck the primetime malaise and that trend? We'll find out on Sunday. What kind of distractions are going to be coming forth between now and Sunday when the Buccaneers take on the Commanders? That is the sign, and that is the theme of our opening drive here on a Tuesday.
Start the engine. Gas to the floor. Here's the opening drive.
I want to say first off, though, that I felt like today was going to be a good day because it's quite nipply outside, as you guys know. It's in the 40s, and it'll be in the 20s and 30s tonight, so you better get ready. And, I was digging out some jeans. I was trying to figure out, which jeans to wear. And look, you might call me crazy, but this goes back to a Seinfeld episode, and I do this, especially when it's cold outside. Before I wear certain clothing, like a sweater or shirt that I know I'm going to wear, or pants or jeans, I throw them in the dryer. The wrinkle-free setting, and it's in there for 10 minutes, and then when it comes out, like on a day like today, when it was in the 30s this morning, you slip into those jeans, and they feel nice and warm, kind of like Kramer from Seinfeld. It's a beautiful thing, and I do it all the time. All the time. I bet you Mike Florio does it too. He's a big Seinfeld fan. In fact, he's going to join us on the show tomorrow, so we'll talk to him about old-time wrestling, Seinfeld references, and playoff football. So these jeans that I'm wearing today, I don't know if you can see, just jeans, So I reached into the pocket of these jeans this morning, and lo and behold, I reached into my pocket, Chris, and I swear to you.
What's in that pocket?
I swear to you, this took place.
I'm scared.
No, nothing to be afraid of. It's a $20 bill.
Right there in the pocket.
Right in my pocket.
Oh, my God.
And I haven't worn these jeans in months. They've been sitting in my drawer, and I'm sure you guys have had that too. You go into, an empty pocket of jeans or a jacket or whatever.
It's one of the greatest feelings. It really is.
And I'm like, I got $20. This day's already off to a good start. You know? Where's my money, bitch? Oh, my God. Pretty much.
So warm jeans to start the day, $20 bill. It looks very crisp as well.
$20. There was a Zoom meeting this morning, physical therapy, meetings, this afternoon with some great people here at iHeart.
And now Buccaneer football.
And now we're talking Buccaneer football. We're talking playoff football Sunday between the Bucs and the Commanders just after 8 o'clock. Kickoff time. We're all excited about it. You can hear from Todd Bowles coming up at 5 o'clock, Greg Auman at 4 o'clock. So I don't think this will be a big issue leading up to the game on Sunday, but as I've talked about in the last several weeks, success has its drawbacks. And when you're as successful as the Buccaneers are, players are going to want more money at some point, and the Buccaneers will deal with that, and they'll cross that bridge when they get to it. And the people that are responsible for your said success are going to be in demand. For instance, as we told you yesterday, Assistant General Manager Mike Greenberg, who is a very sharp guy, a New York guy, he has been requested for an interview for the Jets open general manager opening. And he's done a great job with the salary cap. He was right out in front of Operation, I think it was called Shoeless Joe Jackson, Operation Shoeless Joe. That was the courting of Tom Brady in free agency. He was right there in front of that. He was actually one of the main components in getting that deal done. So he is quite revered and respected around the league, and now he's going to interview for the Jets open position as their general manager. He's from Long Island. He grew up a Jets fan, so this might be a dream come true for him. Now, truth be told, the Jets are casting a very wide net because they have an open GM job and an open head coaching job as well, and they're talking to a lot of people. So because he interviews with them doesn't necessarily make him the favorite per se. Look, he's a very sharp guy, so I think he's going to go in there and he's going to interview really, really well. And I think he will be one of the leading candidates for that job. But the Jets are looking at a lot of other GM candidates, and who the head coach is, I think, is going to determine who the GM is, and vice versa. Usually, good organizations, and the Jets haven't done this, hired the GM first, and then that guy goes and hires the coach. So if Mike Greenberg does get that job, who's to say he doesn't turn around and say, hey, Liam Cohen, let's have a talk, because I need a head coach. And look, in the business of pro football, broadcasting, what have you, connections matter. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and guys are more likely to hire people that they know. So if Mike Greenberg gets that job, it's very possible maybe he reaches out for a Liam Cohen, who is going to be in demand. We've talked about this for, several weeks now. To that point, the Jacksonville Jaguars are requesting an interview with Liam Cohen for their head coaching position. Now, it should be noted, our friends over at betonline.ag, they come out with these odds every once in a while on who's the favorite for this. Now, you can bet on anything, as you guys know, degenerates out there, myself included, by the way. They have the odds for the next Bears head coach. And according to betonline.ag, Cliff Kingsbury, who was Caleb Williams' coach back in college, is the favorite at 2-1, followed by Ben Johnson at 4-1. The favorite for the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching position, according to betonline.ag, is, drum roll, Liam Cohen.
Say that again.
Yes, Jason Light. Liam Cohen is the favorite at minus 300, followed by Ben Johnson and Joe Brady. And look, that is an attractive job, believe it or not. You have Trevor Lawrence, who has struggled after a pretty good rookie campaign. His initial debut was successful. Since then, not so much. Doug Peterson got fired. You're in a division which is easily winnable. Indianapolis, Houston, Tennessee stinks. They just fired their GM, by the way, after getting the number 1 overall pick, Rand Carthon. They ran him out of town, pardon the pun, after just 2 years on the job. They signed him to a contract extension last offseason. And here they are firing him after 2 years, which is crazy. But the Jacksonville Jaguars job is an attractive job because there's already a good young quarterback in place in Trevor Lawrence. They've got a top 10 pick, so I think they can become quite competitive really quickly with the right guy in tow. And as you know, Liam Cohen is drawing rave reviews for his work here with the Buccaneers over the course of the regular season. And as you know, the Buccaneers offense, and I've already made this claim, and you can agree or disagree, 2021 offense obviously was quite potent. But that 21 offense doesn't run the ball the way this Buccaneer team runs the football. The Buccaneers, in total offense, finished the regular season third, averaging 400 yards per game. Passing offense, also third, averaging 250 yards per game. Rushing offense, they were fourth, almost 150 rushing yards per game, after they were dead last each of the prior 2 years. And that's where the difference comes into play when I'm comparing this offense to that 21 offense. That 21 offense doesn't run the ball nearly as well as this team does. Not close, by the way. And scoring, they're averaging 29.5 points per game. And it's all due to, obviously, Baker Mayfield deserves a ton of credit. He's had a career year. The offensive line's tremendous. But Liam Cohen and his innovative concepts in terms of play calling, his run game concepts, his blocking schemes, the gap schemes, the wham blocks, these are things that a lot of NFL teams weren't prepared for, and he has gashed a number of teams. And look, I think they can gash the Washington Commandos coming up on Sunday night as well. The Commandos better be ready for the Buccaneers rushing attack, because the Bucs will undoubtedly try and run Washington off the field. The Commanders were 30th in the NFL in stopping the run. That's not a good sign for them. But Liam Cohen has been the architect and the orchestrator of what I think is probably the best offense the Buccaneers have ever had. And he's going to get multiple head coaching interviews. The Jaguars is just the first one that's coming down the line. I think there will be others. There are 5 openings now. Who's to say there won't be another firing or two? Mike McCarthy with Dallas, that almost seems like a fait accompli, doesn't it? I think Mike McCarthy's probably not going to be there. By the way, the Bears have requested an interview with Mike McCarthy. They have to do it because technically I think he's on the contract for another week. He's got an expiring contract. So if you're the Cowboys, you're Jerry Jones, you haven't extended Mike McCarthy, chances are I don't think you want him around. But apparently there are some teams out there that would like to talk to him. The Bears are one of them. I think the Saints are another one. So winning does have its drawbacks. And I think the Buccaneers are about to experience that. And the one thing you don't want is any of this stuff distracting from the task at hand. You've got to focus in on one thing and one thing only this week, and that's beating the Washington Commanders Sunday at 8:15 in your building on Wild Card Weekend, and maybe making a run after that. And once the season is over, if these guys want to entertain other possibilities, they can. But the main thing here is you don't want anything distracting from the main objective. Don't take your eye off the prize here. The prize is making a run, and the Buccaneers could play with anybody just as long as nothing else is distracting them. Now, to that point, there might be something else. Now, I don't think this is going to be a big distraction, but this is a thing. So we told you about Jordan Whitehead. He was involved in this car accident on Saturday morning. And now we're getting further word as to what happened in this said car accident, with a lot of damage being, assessed and everything else. And Greg Auman had the story. And we'll talk to Greg at 4:05. He reported early this morning that Jordan Whitehead has been cited for careless driving in the 2-car accident on Saturday morning that caused injuries to both him and I think the other driver too. Word has it that Jordan Whitehead has a neck injury, among other injuries. He had to go to the hospital. And trust me, as somebody who's been in a nasty wreck, my neck is, and I can't get too much into that. But it doesn't surprise me that he has injuries that will keep him out the rest of the season. Now, there's more to the story. According to Tampa police, Whitehead was driving a Corvette to the Bucs facility around 9:30 a.m., and he crashed into a GMC pickup truck. As he tried to make that turn, he was going southbound on Dale Mabry, making the left onto MLK, and that's where the Bucs facilities are, as most of you know. Now, the other driver was also taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and police estimate the damage from the accident at $90,000. Now, Jordan Whitehead was cited for careless driving. That carries a fine of $163, which is like fining Chris Mathis 5 cents. And it does not require a court appearance. But we probably should have known that there was something up, because Todd Bowles, after the game on Sunday, said this about Jordan Whitehead's car accident.
I mean, it was tough because Jordan, ever since I've been here, and the 6 years I've been here, he's never been late. He's never been in any trouble. He's a model citizen. He's the guy that helps everybody else, and it was very unfortunate for that to happen. We wish all parties involved get well fast. It was kind of reality shock for us, how some things can be taken away from you at the moment's notice. And, we discussed it last night in the meeting. We talked about it. And, when you love somebody, they're going to make a mistake, and you got to understand that, and you got to love them anyway.
When you love somebody, they're going to make a mistake. You got to love them anyway. So he kind of let the cat out of the bag there that maybe Jordan Whitehead was at fault for the said accident. Now police are confirming that that was the case. So I don't think it'll be a distraction. What it will do is it will provide another quandary for Todd Bowles on the back end. Because this past Sunday against the Saints, 3 of the 4 starters in the secondary were not there. The only guy that did play was Zion McCollum. You got everybody else trying to fill in. Josh Hayes, this guy, that guy, the other guy, Kayvon Merriweather, yada, yada, yada. So we're not sure who's going to be healthy and who's going to be back for Sunday. But Todd Bowles yesterday, he was asked about Antoine Winfield Jr., the guy who makes more money than anybody on the defensive side of the ball. Hey, does Antoine Winfield Jr. have a chance to play this weekend against the Commandos? Here's Todd Bowles.
Hopefully they can be if they come back. We'd like to see them healthy. The bad part about it is when we gain 2, we usually lose 2. So I hope that's not the case, and we can get everybody back at the same time and just have them all healthy.
Yeah, well, that's been a problem, especially on the defensive side. When you have 3/4 of your secondary missing, that's a problem. Everyone wants Todd Bowles fired, but, you don't look at some of the facts. Those are facts. Yes, everyone goes through injuries, but context is very important. Now, could anybody else be back? Servassier Dennis, a very good coverage linebacker. He's been hurt. Does he have a chance to play this weekend? What about the other guys? Here's head coach Todd Bowles.
Servassier won't be available, not at this time. We'll see about Dean, Cade, and Winfield this week.
Not at this time, no. Cade Otton, it'd be nice to have him back. Jamel Dean, I'm not betting against him returning. I don't think he'll be back this weekend. He has both of his knees jacked up. So the Bucs will be, pardon the pun again, we're full of puns today, a wounded duck, especially in their secondary leading up to this game on Sunday night. And look, this has all the makings of a shootout. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be able to contain Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels and company. But on the flip side, I don't think Washington is stopping the Buccaneers offense, especially against the run, where Washington's giving up almost 138 rushing yards per game on average. That's 30th in the NFL. There are 32 teams in the league. So I think this could be an old-fashioned shootout. And again, the only thing that can stop the Bucs are the Bucs. If the Bucs don't turn the ball over, I think they've got a fair shot, more than a fair shot, in advancing and moving into the divisional round. But we'll have plenty of time to talk about this. We've got Greg Auman. He's going to be with me coming up at 4 o'clock. You can join in on the fun right now at 888-546-4620. Text at 82945 on the Bartow 4 DA text platform. Your thoughts on Liam Cohen interviewing perhaps for the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching position? Mike Greenberg interviewing with the Jets. Is that going to be an issue? I hope that there is a focus in on this game and not on some of this other stuff going on in the background. We've got Phil in the blank coming up at 4:30. On the way back, your calls and texts on the Buccaneers. Distractions, are you worried about any of this stuff heading into Sunday night? Also on the way back, some interesting news from around the NFL, some head coaching openings, and also a key injury heading into Wild Card Weekend that, believe it or not, could have an impact on the Buccaneers moving forward. I'll talk about that, your calls and texts, next here on The Drive. Schnell.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Well, I don't have to tell you. You woke up this morning, you're freezing your buns off. It was a little nipply out this morning. So if your hot water isn't working, if your heat isn't working, don't worry about it. A certified Rude Pro partner is waiting to service you because air and water are two things a certified Rude Pro partner knows an awful lot about. You know you can rely on Rude, my guys, to keep your indoor air comfortable. And now you know you can rely on Rude to make sure your hot water's flowing whenever you need it, especially on nights like tonight, tomorrow night, for the next week, for the indefinite future, in fact. Rude Water Heating is the industry leader for total water heating solutions. So if you need conventional tank top water heaters, that's Rude. Tankless water heaters, which I have, that's also a Rude specialty. Replacement parts and accessories for all categories. Rude is your one-stop solutions provider. And with the exclusive backing of Ferguson HVAC, your certified Rude Pro partners can get the best products and parts when you need it. Rude water heaters, engineered tough and built to last. So for AC, heat, and water heating solutions, connect with a certified Rude Pro partner at RudeACFlorida.com. That's how you can hit them up. That's Rude, RUUD, AC.
WDAE.com/rules. Shift into high gear for the Drive with TKras, courtesy of Moss Nissan, only on WDAE.
No, I was just hoping it was complete, and, I think Mike owes me $1 million.
Wow. It's Todd Bowles speaking yesterday, talking about Mike Evans, getting him on the field, getting him that catch so he can get to 1,000 yards receiving for an 11th straight year. He was chasing history. And also, Mike gets a $3 million incentive. He hit on that bonus. Where's my money, bitch? Welcome back. The Drive with TKras, 333 on your ride home. So is that Todd Bowles? Say, hey, you know what? You just made $3 million because I put you in that position. Where's my money, bitch? I don't think Todd Bowles is saying that to Mike Evans. Oh, my goodness. We'll talk to Greg Auman coming up at 4:05, fill in the blank at 4:30. We're on until 5 o'clock, and then it's the always energetic Todd Bowles coming up. It's exciting! Buccaneer Total Access with the head coach at 5 o'clock. All right, so this is interesting. Now, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but Sunday night into Monday, obviously we're into the month of January. We're going to honor the late, great Dr. Martin Luther the King. I had a dream on Sunday night, and that dream entailed the Buccaneers and the Lions meeting in the NFC title game. Now, some of you were texting in and tweeting, hey, in your dream, did the Bucs win? They hadn't played the game yet. My dream was I was sitting here talking about the NFC Championship game. And it was kind of surreal because I woke up feeling, wait a minute, did that happen? Now, the Bucs and the Lions met last year, as we know, in a divisional round, and the Bucs gave the Lions all they can handle. And I think right now the Lions are the hands-down favorites. If anyone needed home field advantage throughout the playoffs, it was the Lions because of all the injuries that they sustained. They were masterful. Aaron Glenn put on a masterclass defensively on Sunday night against Kevin O'Connell, Sam Darnold, and the Minnesota Vikings. That was an awesome defensive performance. They got Alex Anzalone back. David Montgomery's going to come back, too, for the divisional round. So the Lions are starting to get a couple of cats back now. And offensively, they're incredible. I mean, they can score, kind of like the Bucs. I mean, they're multiple. Great O-line, just like the Bucs. Great running game, just like the Bucs. Dangerous guys on the outside, just like the Bucs. Jared Goff, another former number 1 overall pick that, initially had some success and then he gets traded and now he's really good again. And Baker Mayfield, same thing. I mean, these two guys have had sort of parallel type of careers. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, parallel careers coming out of the same draft. Baker was number 1 overall in 2018. Todd Bowles, when he was coach of the Jets, wanted him, couldn't get him. Todd Bowles settled for Sam Darnold. That didn't go well because of what was around Sam, and the environment certainly wasn't conducive to success. And with quarterbacks, man, it matters where you go. I mean, you could be super talented, but if you're going somewhere where, A, the culture is not conducive to success, you don't have the talent around you, you don't have the coaching around you, you need those 3 components if you want to be successful. And Baker didn't have it, and Sam Darnold didn't have it initially. But now you're putting Baker in this offense, and he's had, the benefit of having 2 really good offensive minds. Last year, Dave Canales. This year, Liam Cohen, in turning his career around. And look, Sam Darnold went to a place where the Vikings have superior personnel on offense and a really good coach. Voila. And I think if Caleb Williams gets the same, I think the Bears can turn themselves around. The Patriots are looking for a coach. The Jaguars are looking for a coach. It's interesting. When you think more and more about this, and we'll get to your calls in a matter of moments, 888-546-4620, text at 82945. I think on paper, a lot of people would suggest that the Bears right now have the best head coaching opportunity. And they are a good job. I think the Bears is one of the best. Saints and the Jets are probably the two worst right now. And there could be another opening happening. We'll see. Maybe Dallas gets an opening. We'll find out in the next week or so. But I'll tell you what, as much as I hate to admit it, I think the Patriots' job might be the best job. Why? Because you've got a quarterback. I think you could win with Drake May. I think he's big. He's athletic. He's got a great arm. He's very smart. There are some pieces that you can work around. Christian Gonzalez is already one of the top cover corners in the entire league. You have the number 4 overall pick, and you have $130 million in salary cap space. So you can make a really good argument right now that the Patriots have the best head coaching opening. And that's why they let Gerard Mayo go. Because Robert Kraft saw Mike Vrabel interviewing with the Jets. He's like, we need to go and get that guy back here. We can't let him go across the street to the pitiful Jets. And oh, by the way, Mike Vrabel is interviewing tomorrow with the Chicago Bears. Speaking of the Jets, as we speak, down in Palm Beach, Woody, I was going to call him Woody Harrelson. I mean, he's a knucklehead, too. But at Woody Johnson's house down in Palm Beach, Rex Ryan is interviewing today for the Jets head coaching job, which to me is kind of interesting and a joke, too, all in the same breath. Now, here's the injury that I'm going to tell you guys about. And I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but up in Philadelphia, you got to watch what's going on up there. Because the Eagles take on the Packers this weekend. Jalen Hurts is still in the NFL's concussion protocol, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. And yesterday, Nick Sirianni said that he had no new information on Hurts. So you saw how long it took. And with a lot of players, it's different. Getting over these head injuries, they've got to go through the 5-step protocol. And an independent neurologist has to clear them. Not the Eagles doctor. An independent doctor has to clear Jalen Hurts before this weekend's game against the Packers. We're going to know more tomorrow. But if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, then all of a sudden the Packers, the 7 seed, they got a fighter's chance to knocking off the Philadelphia Eagles. Why would that be significant? Because if the Bucs take care of business on Sunday night and the Packers win, then that means the Buccaneers will be hosting another playoff game next weekend. Because they will not be the lowest remaining seed. Like after Wild Card Weekend, the lowest remaining seed automatically goes to Detroit. So that would mean, the Packers going to Detroit and the Buccaneers taking on the winner of that Rams-Vikings game on Monday night. So that's something that bears watching. Because if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, I don't think the Eagles have such a great chance now without him in there. I will take your calls. Scotty and Ralph will get to you guys on the way back. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. We'll get more into the NFL on the way back. Plus, news regarding the Rays and what's happening next month with the Rays. And I'll have that news for you on the way back. This is The Drive.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
All right, guys, I just told you about Jordan Whitehead and his injury accident. I had an injury accident a few months ago, as you know. And when I did, from the injury accident scene, I called on my guys over at Catania & Catania, the personal injury law firm that's been doing their thing here in Tampa Bay for the last 30 years. They don't get paid unless you get paid, and they've been getting a lot of money for their clients. Almost $1 billion over the years has been recovered by my guys for injury victims just like you. So protect your rights and protecting mine. They've had my back since the accident, and I'm grateful to them for that. So if you've been involved in a car accident, Jordan Whitehead or anybody else out there, you got to call on my guys over at Catania & Catania. Tell them I sent you. 813-222-8545. That's 813-222-8545. Or get a free evaluation of your case
You get the staff you need and manage contingent labor costs. Learn more at expresspros.com. That's expresspros.com.
Country Thunder Florida comes to Raymond James Stadium May 2nd through 4th. Tickets at countrythunder.com.
Now back to The Drive with TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
3:49 on your ride home. The Drive with TKras presented by Moss Nissan. Let's talk about them for a minute. Then we've got breaking news from the NFL and some Rays news to give to you as well. So if you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle in 2025, you got to go to our guys over at Moss Nissan. Holiday hangover, credit card debt have you down? No problem. We've got the cure, don't we, Chris Mathis?
Absolutely we do, Tom, as they offer no money down plus no payments until the spring.
That's a beautiful thing. I bought my last two vehicles over at Moss Nissan. With every purchase, you get Moss Care, lifetime oil changes and tire rotations, and so much more.
And you get all of this while selecting from the largest Nissan inventory in the Tampa Bay area.
You got that right. They've got 3 convenient locations. They're in North Tampa, also in Newport Richey, and right off the Suncoast Parkway up in Brooksville. And you can also check out their inventory at mossnissan.com. That's mossnissan.com. Moss Nissan, whatever it takes in the year 2025. 888-546-4620. All right, some breaking news. And you knew this was going to happen. We talked about this yesterday. The Raiders have fired head coach Antonio Pierce. You knew it was going to happen. He wasn't going to last. Look at the division that they're in.
Third prize is your phone.
Yeah, get out. And it's unfortunate for him because he's a good player, but as a coach, he didn't show enough. Plus, you're in the same division as Andy Reid and the Chiefs, Sean Payton and the Broncos, another playoff team, Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, another playoff team. You're way behind the curve, man. And according to Diana Rossini of The Athletic, our guy Tom Brady is going to have a major influence on who the next coach is going to be.
Oh, so what's the question?
Well, the question here, Tommy boy, is does that mean you're going to call on your good friend Mike Vrabel maybe to be the next head coach of the Raiders? I'll tell you what, man. Maybe I get a look-see from Tom Brady, you know what I mean? Maybe John Gruden. I tell you, everyone wants to talk about Vrabel and this guy and the other guy. Ben Johnson hasn't done anything. I'm a proven guy, man. Hire me. Is John Gruden going to get a look? No, not with the Raiders, not after everything that went on there. But I think Mike Vrabel becomes the front runner for the Patriots job. He's going to interview with the Bears tomorrow. He becomes a front runner for the Raiders job. We got 6 openings. I think we'll have 7. I don't think Mike McCarthy will last in Dallas another week. He's got an expiring contract. So we estimate about 7 to 8 openings, and I think that's exactly what we're going to get. 7 or 8 openings. We'll talk to Greg Auman about all things Bucs and NFL. He's going to join us in a matter of moments. All right, some news on the Rays. We told you yesterday about how the Rays did an about-face, and they are leaning or expecting the city of St. Pete to repair the drop in time for the 2026 season. Listen, stop procrastinating, stop messing around. I talked about this yesterday. If you're going to do it now. Why wait? You keep waiting, the more expensive it's going to get. Now there's more news on the Rays. Drew Rasmussen, according to Mark Topkin of the Tampa Bay Times, the Rays and Rasmussen are finalizing a multi-year extension. It's a 2-year deal for $8.5 million, the extension, with an option for a 3rd year that can take the deal to $28 million, which he's not going to see. So Drew Rasmussen gets a contract extension. That 3rd year is a year that those guys never see. It's worth $19-20 million.
Even though you everything we do.
No, I'm not doing that here, Kevin. You know that. So Drew Rasmussen locked up for a couple more years, came back from a 3rd surgical procedure on his elbow, which is incredible. Just an incredible story. He is, a pillar of perseverance and persistence. So I'm happy for Drew. Drew is back for a couple of years. Plus, FanFest. The Rays have announced that FanFest will take place the day after Valentine's Day on February the 15th, so maybe you can take your honey there. And it's going to be at the St. Pete Pier. I like that idea. Admission free. You can get your tickets at raysbaseball.com/FanFest. So a lot of your favorite Rays players will be there. Games, mascots, an entertaining stage show, exclusive VIP experiences. I'm sure we're always there broadcasting live. We got to bring that up to management, Chris Mathis. We got to be there for FanFest.
Oh, I'd imagine we will be, right?
I would imagine
We're going to find a way.
We're going to find a way. So FanFest at the St. Pete Pier, Saturday, February the 15th. I like that. All right, take some phone calls. Greg Auman is coming up. Ralph is in Tampa. Ralphie boy.
Hey, TKras, thanks for taking my call, brother. Hey, listen, your dream, I've had the same dream. It's like my worst nightmare. You know, I grew up in Detroit. I moved down here almost 19 years ago now. And I'm a big Bucs fan, but I'm also, I grew up in Detroit, so obviously I'm a Lions fan. So I actually think the Bucs are dangerous. And I wouldn't want to face them, because I think they're the real deal, Holyfield. And congratulations to Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield has played outstanding. And I'm tormented. Steve Dumick would probably punch me in the mouth right now. and I know I'm going to get third prize on this phone call, but just hear me out. Anytime you find a Jackson in your pocket, it's a good day. God bless, and thanks for taking my call.
Well, thank you, Ralphie, for making it. We appreciate it.
Come on, get out of here.
Yeah. Listen, I know the Lions haven't won anything since, 1957. I mean, they've never won a Super Bowl. The Super Bowl started up, as we know, in 1966 in the mid-'60s. So in the Super Bowl era, they've never won a Super Bowl. They've never been to a Super Bowl. They got a good shot of getting there this year. If any team needed home field advantage, that's a tough place to play. Now, the Buccaneers went there week 2, and they won because the Lions were so bad in the red zone, and credit the Bucs. They played a bend but don't break style, and they beat the Lions. So if it comes down to that matchup, the Bucs are not going to be intimidated by that element, by that hostile environment, because they've won there already. Scotty's in Clearwater. Scotty, what's going on?
Yeah, the Lions are trying to exorcise the ghost of Bobby Lane. Anyway, how you liking this beautiful, cold football weather we're having?
I love it, man. I think it's extraordinary.
I do, too, and I hope we have it on Sunday night as well. My call, Tom, is I know you respect Jason Light as much as I do, but I think he's got a really tough decision coming up here with this Liam Cohen thing. I think, as you know, this league is an offensive league now, and it seems like it's going. The offensive coaches are where it's at, and I just think he's got a decision. If he lets this guy go, it could be something that he regrets for several years. And I love Todd Bowles. And do you think Todd would be willing to go back to being defensive coordinator?
No. I do not think so, Scotty. Not at this time, no. And I appreciate the call, Scotty, because I'm up against a break. No, he's not doing that. Why would he do that? I'll take a demotion so that Liam Cohen becomes a head coach. That's not going to take place. You have to prepare for the eventuality that Liam Cohen is going to leave. Because Todd Bowles just won 10 games. He won 8 games year 1, 9 games year 2. He won 10 games this year. He's not getting fired. As much as a lot of you want to run him out of town, it's not happening. All right, 1 hour down, 1 more hour to go. Coming up, the latest, and he broke the news on Jordan Whitehead and his car wreck. What about Liam Cohen? Is he going to take a head coaching job? What about some of these injured players and looking back at what was an historic Buccaneer win and celebration on Sunday? Greg Auman, FoxSports.com, will join me coming up next.
Tampa Bay Sports Radio, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
We're getting crushed out here. What's going on with you, Nick? You used to be the unstoppable king of flag football.
I'm feeling my age. At 40, I feel like I can't keep up anymore.
Is it lower testosterone?
Lower T?
Yeah. When you turn 40, you have less testosterone. It's harder to stay lean and get the same results you used to get. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I know Nugenix. It really gives you an edge.
No question. At work, the gym, the bedroom, Nugenix turned back the clocks. Now I've got the same energy that I did in my 20s.
I want to try Nugenix.
All right, time out. Guys, go text Nugenix and get yourselves a complimentary bottle to try.
He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
It was his first time starting the first game. They're a lot different. They're a lot better all the way around. We're a different team and they're a different team, so it'll be a tough ball game. He can beat you a ton of ways, from the pocket, out of the pocket, with his leg, with his arm. They got a lot of characters around them that can really play ball, so it's going to be a tough game.
Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers awaiting a rematch with Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Bucs and Commanders on Wild Card Weekend right here at Ray J. Sunday night, just after 8 p.m. Can't wait. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of The Drive with yours truly, presented by Moss Nissan. Chris Mathis on the other side. More of your calls coming up, 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. At the bottom of the hour, we've got fill in the blank. The Buccaneers will blank against the Commanders on Sunday night. In 2025, Liam Cohen's job will be blank. So there's a lot of interesting possibilities out there. Another head coach was just fired, Antonio Pierce, by the Raiders. That makes 6 openings now in the NFL. So are the Buccaneers about to lose some valuable pieces that have led to this successful run? So much Bucs news and talk, and let's do it right now in the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network, DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. Greg Auman covers the Bucs and the NFL for FoxSports.com, and he's back with me here on The Drive. Greg, how are you? How are you, buddy?
Doing well, Tom. Thanks for having me on. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. It's great to have you with us. And there's so much to get to. Let's go back to Sunday, because I thought the Bucs social media department did a great job. And I know you saw the videos of Mike Evans when he got the catch and the celebration, and they followed him into the locker room. And you just saw how every person, every staff member, coach, front office executive, player was just over the moon happy for Mike after he caught that ball. So just tell us what the energy was like.
Yeah, really cool. It's one of those where, they get down 10. Mike kind of had a slow start. There was a while there you weren't sure either of those things was going to happen. And then, when Bucky got the touchdown with under 2 minutes left, there was definitely that sense of a stadium being really excited that the Bucs had an 8-point lead with 2 minutes to go, but realizing Mike's at 995, and that would really sting. So to get it back and to have kind of this convoluted one play, instead of kneeling, you take an 8-yard, 9-yard catch, and he got it. And the elation in the building was just awesome. I mean, I mean it when I say they were almost excited for Mike as they were to celebrate a win and a division title. It meant that much. And like you said, Bucs did an amazing job. They did a video where it's almost like a single tracking shot for like 7 minutes, just following Mike from the field to the sidelines, just swarmed by teammates and coaches and so many people happy for him, all the way to the locker room and into the postgame with Bowles. Just a really neat thing to see. And again, you can't say enough about how much this means, not only to him, but everybody around him.
It was incredible. That first-person perspective, the Bucs did a great job. From the catch to the aftermath, the celebration, him running back into the locker room. It's a must-see. You can pick it up and watch it on the Buccaneers social media platforms. We're talking with Greg Auman here on The Drive. The 4 o'clock hour brought to you by our friends over at Pin Chasers, bowling, food, and fun. It wasn't fun for a while, Greg, because for about a half, it looked like the Buccaneers were sleepwalking. They looked like they were extremely tight. And then at the half, I think there was some furniture moving in the locker room, and they came out, and this is what Todd Bowles has done. Halftime of the last 5 games, they've only allowed a combined 9 points in the second half of the last 5 games. So what's been happening in the first half? What's been happening at halftime, you think?
Yeah, it's funny. I asked Todd on Monday about that, and he said he didn't really think it's anything major in terms of adjustments or tweaks. It's funny. I mean, that the Bucs are the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL in the second half this year, and they're also the number 30 defense in the first half. So it's one of those where I'm sure every time you get excited about the second half, you kind of wonder why you can't do the same thing maybe an hour or two earlier. But the way they've absolutely locked down, I mean, to look at what the Saints were able to do in the second half, I think the Saints had 61 yards of offense in the second half.
Yep.
Didn't have but one first down until that last drive when they moved it a little bit. And 3 points, and that's kind of what you need. If you're going to dig out of a hole, both sides have to do it. And obviously the offense also clicked in a way that they didn't in the first half. And it all comes together. But yeah, this defense, for whatever reason, it finds itself and they kind of relax and settle into their roles. And I think the last 7 games, you said 9 points in 5 games is amazing, but just in the 6-1 finish they've had here since the bye, it's 23 points in 7 games. It's basically a field goal a game, and that's it.
Impressive, and yet there are some fans that want to run Todd Bowles out of town for whatever reason.
Yes.
Greg Auman of FoxSports.com's with me. So now they got the Commanders again. We saw them on opening day. I think you got to throw that game out, Greg. It was Jaden Daniels' NFL debut. I think that Commanders team is much different. They won 12 games. They're really good. They're well coached. So how do you handicap this matchup between the Bucs and the Commanders on Sunday night? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I thought, like you said, I thought the Bucs did really well to get him in his NFL debut before he could settle in, before he could really find himself. And that's a big part of why they were able to win by 17. I think it starts with, Washington does not have a good run defense. So I think that lines up really well with what the Bucs do well. That first half against New Orleans, I think Bucky had 4 touches, 4 carries, and they threw the ball 16 times. And I don't think they can do that again. I think this is a game where they want to establish the run, control the game, kind of like the Saints did well to keep the ball out of Baker's hands in the first half Sunday. I really think they do well to take that strategy into Washington and don't let Jaden Daniels do that much. Don't let him be on the field anymore, and you have to. They're probably good throwing the ball against this Washington defense. Don't get me wrong. Defensively, I think they line up fine against Washington. I don't know if they'll hold them to 20 again, but if they can get Winfield or Dean, honestly, that's a big help. McLaurin is a handful. I think Zion McCollum can kind of neutralize him, so then you just have to figure out how to handle the rest of what they do. And Jaden Daniels is absolutely the most dangerous. I mean, in terms of a mobile quarterback, he ran for almost 900 yards. If you let them lurk and sit around, I mean, he's a guy that won on a Hail Mary. He won in overtime. He won on a last-minute field goal. He's been as good a end-game quarterback as there's been. So you don't want to let them sit around because he's a guy, if you kick a field goal for the lead with a minute and a half left, he's not the guy you want with a drive to beat you.
He rushed for almost 90 yards and 2 scores against the Bucs, and there's no question that he will make some plays with his legs, and the Buccaneers have to keep him in the pocket. You mentioned the Commanders' defense, they're 30th in stopping the run. They did make the trade for Marshawn Lattimore. That's Mike Evans' boy. That's his best friend. He's got a hamstring injury, Greg. That's must-see TV if Lattimore can play this week. So what are the chances we see this matchup?
Yeah, he didn't play this past week, and obviously, we'll know more in the next day or two. But I'm sure Marshawn Lattimore wants to play no matter what. But
hell yeah.
That's a guy he's had a lot of success with. Those two don't like each other at all. It's one of those, there's like a 1 in 3 chance based on history there'll be like an ejection between the two of them on Sunday. So it definitely adds a storyline that was missing. I felt like it couldn't be a Bucs Saints game on Sunday without Evans and Lattimore jawing at each other. They still kind of managed, the teams kind of had fisticuffs there a little bit there after Baker took a hit. But no, it'll be fun. Again, it's one of those where, Lattimore has been limited since they traded for him. If they get him out there, he's probably not full-strength Marshawn Lattimore. So I think there's opportunities for the Bucs whether Lattimore's playing or not.
Well, he's had that hamstring injury the entire year. Talking about Lattimore, Evans, of course, is coming off a hamstring injury of his own. So I would just love to see that matchup on Sunday between those two guys. So, Greg, as you know, winning has its fair share of drawbacks. Now, when you win as much as the Buccaneers have, players are going to want more money and other valuable components are probably going to be pursued by other teams. And now, in the last 48 hours, we've learned of Buccaneers assistant GM Mike Greenberg. He's going to interview for the Jets head coach, the Jets general manager job. Grew up in New York, was a Jets fan. So talk about that dynamic first.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for Mike, that's home for him. That's where he got his start in the NFL. Was an intern with the Jets in 08 and 09. Has been with the Bucs ever since. And he's been, such a steady presence in this front office, not only kind of managing the cap, but as a contract negotiator. Him and Spytek are both probably long overdue to get a chance to run their own teams. So I do think it's a team that's personal to Mike. I know the Jets are a handful right now. You're either inheriting Aaron Rodgers or a brand new quarterback situation. But no, that's definitely something that you're happy to see, and it wouldn't surprise me if Mike has other looks as other GM jobs come open. Titans just came open today, so that's starting to get. Usually there are a lot more coaches openings than there are GM openings, but you're starting to see more front office hires in the works as well. So no, that happened, and then obviously Liam Cohen is another one you got to keep an eye on.
Yes, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are requesting to speak to Liam Cohen for their head coaching vacancy, and I'm sure there's going to be other teams, Greg, that will put in a request to talk to him, and a lot of fans are worried that the Buccaneers are going to lose Liam Cohen. So I ask you, what are the chances Liam Cohen is here in 2025?
It kind of feels probably close to 50-50 right now, honestly. I mean, I think with 6 openings right now, there's not as many as there could have been. I had done like a mock carousel of who's going to go where around Thanksgiving. And at the time, we thought it might even be like 8 or 9. So to see some patience and some restraint from owners in terms of the Colts not making a firing, the Browns not making a firing, the Bengals not doing anything, I think that helps the Bucs. It's tricky, and that some of these jobs that are coming open, it takes a lot to give somebody their first head coaching job, and that's what Liam's going to be. So you think about the Raiders, and I see Tom Brady talking to Liam Cohen for 10 minutes on the field before every game he's done in the 3 Fox games he's done this year, and you wonder if that's a conversation that he would think about, because I think he's going to be involved in the Raiders hire. But the Raiders just got rid of a guy who was a first-time head coach and didn't work out. So I wonder if they want somebody with more experience. Jaguars kind of feel a little bit like Carolina did for Dave Canales, and that is not necessarily a job that'll be top of the list or the most coveted job out there. The GM's going to be there. That probably limits some of their high-end candidates in terms of how viable that job is. But no, I think Cohen has done enough in 1 year, to make the leap from college offensive coordinator to NFL play calling offensive coordinator to head coach in 2 years would be probably even bigger leap than Canales made. But I do think, these offensive minds, I think they trust them, and they're willing to hand the keys to these coaches even before they're 40, even if they've had limited NFL experience like Liam has.
So I've noticed when Tom Brady's covered the last couple of Buccaneer games, and you just made mention of it, he's been in long, animated conversations with Liam Cohen. Now he's a part owner of the Raiders.
Oh, so what's the question?
Well, the question here, Tommy Boy, is would you consider hiring Liam Cohen? Because according to all reports, Greg, it looks like Brady's going to have more of a voice in terms of who's going to be the next head coach. By the way, and we've talked about this going back to the summer, I don't think you can continue being the Fox analyst and a minority owner of the Raiders. That seems like a conflict of interest to me.
Yeah, he's my colleague, so I got to be careful here. But I think Tom.
So what's the question?
Again, Tom probably has access to people he wouldn't have if he weren't a Fox broadcaster. I think he's been careful in terms of, all the talk was that he couldn't criticize anybody, couldn't criticize officiating. I think he's kind of found a balance to be able to speak somewhat freely without getting fined or in trouble with the league. I think he'll continue to sort this out. I've enjoyed what he's done so far. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of conflict. And I mean, he doesn't get to have the production meetings and be in people's facilities the way most broadcasters do. So there's already some concessions being made.
And I would think, being in that division, talking about the Raiders, they know who the other 3 head coaches are in Jim Harbaugh, Andy Reid, and also Sean Payton. So I think you would need an established guy there. So I'm not sure if Liam Cohen would go to the Raiders, but it's certainly a very interesting storyline. Now, I had Sarah Walsh on the show yesterday. She's going to make it a point to try and get a Duck into the building on Sunday night. Now, the Buccaneers, the last 2 weeks, they've had Ducks show up, one unexpectedly, and then this past Sunday, you had Ryan Jensen walk in with a Duck, and that proved to be lucky, the luck of the Duck. Greg Auman, will we see a Duck on the field or in the building on Sunday night, in your opinion?
I would say yes. I think it served him well. I think it served him well against the Saints. I can't get the Duck in there myself. There's a screening process for the media. It would be tough for me to pull off. But that Duck was everywhere, man. That Duck was making the rounds more than Brady does in pregame. So it was impressive to see how many people were holding the Duck. And it's a good luck charm, I guess. And if whoever the handler of the Duck is, I would definitely have them there on Sunday night.
All right, a couple of more tidbits on the NFC South because you covered the entire division for FoxSports.com. The Falcons, I thought, blew the NFC South. They had a big lead, and then Kirk Cousins forgot how to throw the ball, and Raheem Morris didn't know how to use a timeout. So where do the Falcons go from here? Do you see Kirk Cousins elsewhere in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely where it starts. I mean, it'll be Michael Penix's team this fall, and they got to figure out, what, if anything, they can do to mitigate a massive cap hit that they'll take from that Cousins contract. I mean, in the least, I think it's $38 million they'll pay him after he's done with them. So that's bad. I don't know if their GM is back. That's kind of been a question up there. Yeah, it was just funny. I mean, for them to have whatever it was, 6-3 as a start, and then finish whatever they finished, 2-6 to end the season. Mm-hmm. I mean, this was theirs for the taking. And I mean, part of the Bucs making their charge, that's only possible because the Falcons didn't, and the Falcons lost 3 in a row there and made a change. These last 2 games were certainly games they could have won. It's funny how much this division swung on overtime games, because the Bucs had 2 that they lost without ever getting the ball. They had a game they won in overtime, and then the Falcons, for the Bucs to get their big break by having another team go down the field and score in the first possession of overtime is just poetic. But that's how close things were. I mean, the Bucs finished with 2 more wins than Atlanta, but a couple things change, and it could be very different.
Very, very different indeed. And Bryce Young, under the tutelage of our good friend Dave Canales, looks like a completely different quarterback. He now looks like the franchise guy that Carolina thought when they made him the top pick a couple of years ago. Great game against the Falcons. So it looks like Carolina, if they can add to that team, is on the upswing. What do you expect out of them this offseason?
Yeah, definitely. That's one of those where, in October, it seemed impossible that Bryce Young would be the guy of the future. But to have 5 touchdowns on Sunday, lead them to a big victory. They finished, I think, 4-5 in their last 9 games. So, no, there's a positive trajectory there. I think they'll have room to make some more changes and bring in some more. That first year, I think you're just finding yourself as a team. So in terms of being able to add to what they have around Bryce Young, I think they traded away some pieces. They'll be better for it. They got almost nothing out of Jonathan Brooks, out of their second-round pick and the first back taken in the draft. So I think they can be much better there as well. But, they actually finished ahead of the Saints. It's one of those where one of the fun things when people were picking the division was whether you picked Carolina to not be last, and they did well. It's just a tie with the Saints, but they win the tiebreaker, and that's a third-place team. And that's a win. I mean, if you think about where Carolina was, for them not to be last in this division, it seems like the smallest step of progress, but there's something they did, and it's something they can build on. And if they make the same jump in 25 that they did in 24, they'll be competing for a playoff spot.
And you mentioned the Saints. I think they have the worst head coaching opening. There isn't a young quarterback. I know Derek Carr came out and said, I'm not taking a pay cut, so that'll be an interesting standoff there. They're upside down on the salary cap, so who do you see becoming their next head coach? Maybe it's Aaron Glenn, who used to be there, right?
Yeah, Aaron Glenn was the guy when we did it at Thanksgiving. I kind of mentioned Aaron Glenn as a possibility, and I think he's only helped himself. I think he's already in talks with 4 teams that have openings, has a good tie with the Saints. He played there. He coached there. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think they're going to cast a wide net and look a lot of different places, but I think Aaron Glenn would be a smart one. He has ties with the Jets. He could end up going there as well. But to see what Detroit did to the Vikings on Sunday, if they can do that in the postseason, to have a playoff caliber defense with as much talent as they've lost to injuries on that side of the ball really speaks well for Aaron Glenn. And like I said, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they, given his history with the team and the success he's had, I think Detroit's going to be the model for what a lot of franchises want to try and emulate, and he would help them do that.
All right, Greg Auman covers the Bucs in the NFC South for FoxSports.com. He'll be on the lookout for the Duck as well on Sunday night when the Bucs take on the Commanders. Greg, I appreciate it. Great job as well. Oh, before we let you go, I can't let you go because you broke the story. So Jordan Whitehead and his car accident. Oh, you have more information on that, so tell us.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, we kind of knew that Jordan Whitehead had his accident on Saturday that led to him getting injured, ended his season. And this morning, there was news that he was cited. It's just a traffic citation. It's not an arrest or anything, but it was cited for careless driving. If you know the area around the stadium, he was going southbound on Mabry and tried to turn on MLK and hit an F-150 and about $90,000 damage within 2 cars. So scary, and you're happy that things weren't worse for Jordan. To look at that car being totaled and the damages involved, you're just happy that he came out of it. And we're talking about him in terms of football injuries and things like that. Did have a cervical fracture in his neck, so it's nothing to really take lightly. But it sounds like while he won't play at all in this postseason, it sounds like he'll be able to make a full recovery and still be thinking about football moving forward like next season.
You can read him at foxsports.com. That story and a whole lot more. He does a great job of covering the Bucs in the NFC South. Greg Auman. Greg, appreciate it. Enjoy the game on Sunday night, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Have a good one.
You do as well. That's Greg Auman. Great stuff there. So the Bucs will try and they need Antoine Winfield back, man. That secondary is just absolutely decimated. 3/4 of their starters were missing on Sunday. They got lit up in the first half by Spencer Rattler. In the second half, they clamped it down a little bit, and the Saints only had 61 yards of total offense in that second half, but they need Antoine Winfield back in the worst way this weekend, if that's possible. The 4 o'clock hour of the show brought to you by our friends over at Pin Chasers, bowling, food, and fun. All right, when we return here on the program, I love this segment each and every week. So does Mathis, because he tries to get me in really uncomfortable situations. The Buccaneers will blank against the Commandos on Sunday night. Next year, Liam Cohen's job will be blank. Fill in the blank. Coming up next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
So with the games coming up this weekend, I'm going to be on the Hard Rock Bet app. I'm going to have parlays going. You're going to have parlays going. We've got the college football playoff semifinals happening as well this week. So get on the Hard Rock Bet app. Download it now, because you can walk away with a whole bunch of money. You can try the Hard Rock Bet app now for up to $100. You'll get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. You can also wager on hockey, basketball, MMA, and so much more right there on the Hard Rock Bet app. So it's a beautiful thing. Download it right now and get to it in time for the college football playoff semifinal games coming up this weekend, as well as the NFL games coming up this weekend, along with our Bucs. Brought to you by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Concerned about gambling?
Radio WFLA on iHeartRadio. I'm Amy Snyder.
Tampa Machinery Auction online in January. Saturday, January 11th.
Online bidding starts ending at 9 a.m. Pre-bidding available on all items in the catalog.
Starting Friday, January 10th, afternoon.
On-site inventory preview, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Visit tmauction.com. License AB 135 and AU 4650.
If you want your windows there in weeks, pick up the phone and just search Reese.
The Drive is live with TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. The Final Drive.
If you're rooting for Liam Cohen to stay here and not get a job elsewhere, you need to look at the Patriots and be fixated on what they might be doing. If they hire Mike Vrabel, then I think that's a good thing for the Buccaneers. I think that's their number one target. If for some reason Mike Vrabel goes somewhere else, the Raiders' job just became open. His good friend Tom Brady's got a heavy hand in who's going to be their next head coach. Vrabel might end up there. But if you want Liam Cohen to stay, you got to hope the Patriots hire Mike Vrabel. I think that's Liam Cohen's dream job, to be the next head coach of the New England Patriots.
The Final Drive.
It is The Drive presented by my friends over at Moss Nissan, where the goal is to never lose your business over price. Holiday hangovers, credit card debt have you down. Well, we've got the cure here at Moss Nissan, where their goal obviously is to try and get you into a new or a pre-owned vehicle. And how can they do that, Chris Mathis?
Well, they're offering zero money down right now and no payments until the spring, T-Kras.
That is awesome. Plus, Moss Care with every purchase. I bought my last two vehicles over at Moss Care. Their sales department is exemplary. Their service department is outstanding as well.
And you get all of this while selecting from the largest Nissan inventory in Tampa Bay.
You got that right. They've got 3 convenient locations to choose from: North Tampa, Newport Richey, and Brooksville. Or you can check out their inventory at mossnissan.com. That's mossnissan.com. Moss Nissan, whatever it takes. I want to thank Greg Auman for joining us on the show. Tomorrow, Barrett Sallee to preview the college football playoff semifinals, and Mike Florio from ProFootballTalk.com will be with us. Thursday, we got a big show. Rick Stroud will be with us, as well as Bram Weinstein, the Washington Commanders radio play-by-play man. And then Friday, it's
are you sure you want to tell them? Are they ready for this?
No, you know what? Tomorrow, we'll make a very big announcement of what's going to be happening on Fridays at 5 p.m.
Oh, man, I'm amped up. I know everybody else will be as well.
I know everyone's amped up about Todd